To this computer. Okay, we're recording.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order at 6:32 of the Policy Committee. Okay, so Megan sent out, I don't know if everybody got it. Or somebody extra whose attendance needs to be noted.
Give me a moment. But you guys can go ahead and approve the minutes.
Okay. Did everybody get the minutes?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, anybody want to make a motion to approve them?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Just flipping back and forth between the screen and my agenda. Sorry. Okay, so I guess we're going right into bylaws. Did everyone receive the latest draft from Megan?
Yes.
Okay, and Megan, are you going to share it on the screen or?
Yes, it already is up there.
I'm sorry.
It's already up there.
Got it. Okay. So I'll ask Megan to walk us through the changes from the prior meeting. She's got lovely color coding that she can explain to us. Whenever you're ready, Megan.
Okay, sorry about that. Just had to get the dog squared away. So I'm gonna go through section by section. Purple we approved in the last meeting. Green is things that I had to look into. And then anywhere that's highlighted in yellow is research that I did and found from other bylaws. So Article C7-1 and C7-13 have not changed in the town charter. So I'm going to change that to purple and leave that. Then when we get to Article 1, Section 7, we had discussed excluding honorary board members from executive session. So I just plugged in some language, but I left it in green to see if you wanted to modify that language or improve upon it.
You might say, or access to executive session.
Inclusion.
Inclusion in.
We could do or access without invitation into executive session.
Sorry, could you say that again, Megan?
Access without invitation.
How about just access?
Okay.
But it's not just access, isn't it really inclusion?
How about attendance?
Oh, there you go, attendance.
Okay. Or attendance to executive session.
In, wouldn't it be in?
Into.
Okay, it stays in two. Okay.
All right. It takes a village to write some bylaws.
There you go.
All right, then bylaws is now capitalized throughout the document. And the 2 consecutive terms has been updated. So now we get into the expired officer terms. This was the one we had a lot of issue with last time, trying to figure out how to tackle that 3-week period where we might not have a chairman. What's interesting is that of the 15 plus bylaws that I read, it's actually, this specific thing is not addressed. The closest I could find was Monroe Library, but that's more for any other vacancy.
So basically, what it says is that, so if your chairman expires, then it becomes vice chairman. If both the chairman and vice chairman terms have expired and they're not reappointed, then the treasurer, who it is assumed is not also expired, acts as the interim chairman of the board until that first Monday. Shall serve from the first Monday in January until the election of officers as provided in sections 2 and 3 above. Okay,
So it's a 3-week period where
right.
it's unlikely much is going to happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that makes sense.
And then we don't get into the whole thing with holding a special meeting for 3 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, I think it covers it.
And then that issue brought us down to section 7, where we were struggling with language. So again, the Monroe was the closest, I think, that came to our language. So if anybody has any thoughts on that.
I love the fact that if somebody doesn't volunteer, then they get voluntold.
Yeah.
I think we have to have that, though.
No, I agree.
Yeah, because we have to fill the position.
It has to be
Right.
filled. I just think it's, when I read that, I kind of chuckled to myself and thought, oh, but I do think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's good language.
So then we'll substitute the language from section 7, vacancy of in offices, and replace it with the Monroe language. Does anybody want to make any modifications to the language from Monroe?
It's pretty concise.
Right.
And so the position that the chair would make the appointment and the board would have no say. Is that right? It would just happen?
It says effective upon a majority vote of the board.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I see that. Okay.
I guess the only issue is what happens if there's a vacancy, if the chair is vacant that position.
But if the chair is vacant, then the vice chair would automatically take
Oh,
over.
that's right.
correct?
Okay, yeah, they become the chairman. Yeah. That's right.
Section 8, oh no, sorry, that's the absence of a chair. Yeah. Let's hope we don't lose the chair and the vice chair at the same time.
Or the chair, vice chair, and the treasurer, then you're really in trouble.
Well, I think that's when we'd have to call a special meeting
I
and
think so.
on new rules.
Maybe the executive board should avoid taking like parachute trips together.
There you go.
I don't think we have to worry.
Okay, good.
Okay, so then going. All right, so next was the duties of the treasurer, the disbursements over $500. Robin, this is something we just talked about briefly, was that the issue that we're running into at the $500 is, at this point, credit card payments are usually just around $750 or higher, because that's where we order books that we can't get through special vendors, equipment. So sometimes now we're getting bills that are over the 500 mark. And because I have to get them co-signed, we're paying the credit card bills late, and we're now paying penalties on that.
Well, so you think the amount should be increased to 750 then? Is that-
Yeah, I think 750 is safe. And I don't think anything higher is necessary, because anything over 750 would end up being a purchase order.
And how does that work with credit cards then? I mean, this sort of contemplates it's going to be a check that we're doing.
Well, we have a town credit card that we use for purchases. So like some of the companies that we work with that offer government discounts only take a credit card. They don't do purchase orders. So when something is purchased on the credit card that's specific to the library board, then the library board pays their portion of the check, or sorry, of the credit card statement.
But I mean, the language is that checks written against board accounts, the treasurer can sign anything under 500, and then disbursements over 500 require signatures from 2 of the 4 officers. Are the officers actually signing something like the credit card?
Mhm.
They're
authorization?
sending you a check.
No, this is paying the check. This is for paying the check to,
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. It's so you can use the credit card
right,
you're paying them for the credit card.
where you're paying the credit card, yeah.
Okay, got it.
So is everybody comfortable with 750 or do they want it lowered or not changed at all?
It probably just reflects inflation and what's really the correct expense level.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, when we had done this before, we wanted to change it in the bylaws, but we had to bring it to the board as a general discussion. Is that anyone's memory?
Wasn't all of this going to the board?
Yes, but just it's just so everybody understands that it will have to go
Before the board.
that's a separate thing that they have to make a decision about. Yes, all the other ones as well, but
But it doesn't say anywhere that the board has to approve that separate from the bylaws.
no, it doesn't.
have
That's
to.
just traditionally, that's the way we've done it. I mean, we don't have to do it that way. It doesn't.
Well,
It's
was it
not-
because we weren't amending the bylaws at that time that it was sort of in between time? Or do you think it was in conjunction with the amending of the bylaws, like we had a separate motion?
I think what the issue was that at the time, it was like 250 and we were constantly having to call people to come and co-sign.
Mhm.
And so it was just time, the payments, what we were writing checks out for just were higher than that 250.
No, I meant to your point about having to do it maybe a separate vote. Was it a separate vote because we weren't at the same time amending the bylaws? In which case,
That's what I'm sorry, Robin. That's what I was asking did anybody remember whether that's what it was that we had to take it as a separate thing? I didn't see anything anywhere in the bylaws that says that has to be a separate vote. But that's the way we've done it. That's the way we did it the last time. And I don't know whether we were amending, I can't remember if we were amending the bylaws at that time or not.
okay, well, if there's nothing that requires us to do it separately, and if we are amending the bylaws, then I think we're probably okay just doing it as part of all the other things we're going to be voting on.
Yeah, I agree, Robin. I think sometimes we get hung up on traditional way we handle things, and we're trying to get away, trying to modernize a lot of the things that we did.
Yeah.
I mean, we will discuss this at a board level anyway, before this change is made.
Right.
Okay, so next is Article 3, Section 1, bringing the meetings down to 11. The majority of bylaws I looked at, they either do 10 or between 10 and 12. So they'll say a minimum of 10 or a minimum of 11 regular meetings a year. They don't in the bylaws stipulate which month it is, just that they have to have a minimum of a set number of meetings. So we sometimes, if one's canceled, we end up not actually having 12 meetings in 1 year. So I think the best bet would be just to say the board shall schedule a minimum of, and then 11 regular meetings per calendar year. And then the board can determine that separate what month they don't do.
Your note doesn't have the word minimum in it, Megan.
Yeah, no, because we hadn't said that last time, so I wanted to mention.
Oh, okay, all right.
And as far as you know, that doesn't go against anything in the charter. The charter doesn't tell us that we have to have 12
I did not see it, but let me verify.
meeting every month.
Let's see.
I think that's a happiness thing personally.
Yeah.
So the only problem with this is when we approve our calendar for the year, at that time, we would have to decide which month we weren't going to do.
Right, Megan and I talked about that earlier, and I think this gives us a flexibility annually to decide which month it's going to be and not necessarily have to do it every year the same way.
So we would decide in January?
Actually, we would decide probably in October or November when we do the.
We do always do our calendar early, right?
Yeah,
Right.
because I try to get it
Yeah.
in. We have to get it in before December.
Mhm.
And then it's posted, I guess, right?
Mm.
for the year.
But let me check the meetings in the charter. I'm not seeing anything that requires that we hold 12 meetings.
Excellent.
I'm going to say for now, I don't see anything. I did a general search, but after the meeting today, I will read through the charter. And if something does turn up that I don't see now, we can change it during the meeting.
Okay,
Now, do you want to list it as shall schedule 11 or a minimum of 11 regular meetings per calendar year?
I think if we say just 11,
Okay.
but that's, there's no reason why we couldn't do more. And I don't think we have to say a minimum.
Okay.
It says we shall have 11.
Yeah, and you can do special meetings at any time.
right.
Okay, the next section was was the absence without notice. We didn't have language for this. The language was really all over the place for how to handle this in the other bylaws. So I do have other examples, but these were the two that came the closest to not having to call upon the selectmen, which we had said was not in the charter.
So there's nothing in the charter, correct, Megan?
Not that I could find.
Right.
Well, Mary, you had mentioned, I think there are several no-show members of other committees, other
Yeah.
town committees, and that.
And I just remember Matt talking about saying there was nothing he can do about it.
Mhm.
And I don't know where legally this, again, where this, transpired, but just saying that there's nothing they could do.
Mhm.
It doesn't say they can't though. So that's the funny thing is it doesn't clearly state that they can't remove someone from a board.
Mhm, mhm.
But they clearly haven't. I guess that's.
Right.
So
I mean, I
after-
think it's a problem that's been very common over the years with different boards and commissions.
Mhm.
Um,
My concern about Meriden and Avon's language is that it implies that we have the power, for Meriden, the office is declared vacant. Well, it's being declared by us, which I'm not sure, I don't think we have the authority to do. And Avon, same thing. So we had talked about sort of a interim idea last time of just saying that if this happens, then the chair can contact the member to ask that they resign. And that, it's not a binding thing, but at least it sort of gives some direction to the chair and also potentially acts as guidance for people who are going to serve on the board to have them understand what their obligations are. And then if they're not fulfilling those obligations, to kind of point to this and say, look, you're not meeting your obligations, and really think it'd be more fair for the rest of the group if you just let it go.
All right, so then whenever a member of the board is absent without notice or excuse for 4 regular meetings out of 12 per year, the board acting through the chairman will,
We want to say may, or do we want to say shall?
I think may is better.
May, yeah.
All right, so
May request that member resign. Well, that's too many that's, let's say.
Yeah, and you know what, I think, Robin, you hit the nail on the head. I think because it's an appointed position, that
Mhm.
we can't quote unappoint them. We don't have the power. And I
Mhm.
think that's where it comes from.
Right, yeah, I agree. So the best that we can do is just
What we
Ask
could
them,
do
see.
for this year is do what Robin recommended. And then before next year's bylaws, I can consult with Marty and
Uh-huh.
find out what we can and can't do. I'd recommend waiting till the next go round just because we need to get this done.
I agree. Yeah.
And that this could hold it up, but I could certainly start finding out now for the future what we do have the ability to do.
Yeah, because I mean, the one thought is that we did have our one member who was absent for almost 2 years, and at one point was asked to resign and chose to ignore and didn't act on it. So we were still at the same situation we were, so.
Mhm. So are you thinking that it's really not useful because,
No, I think it should be, so it should, I think it's good to codify it, because then you can always point to them, because if somebody says, well, it's not in the bylaws that, and it's like, well, no, it's telling you that if you're missing that many without an excuse or notice, that, you may be asked to resign. And I think for most people, that would, either they would change their meeting attendance behavior, or they would make a choice to remove themselves from that board.
so how about may request that such member resign?
There you
Or-
go.
And do we want to
Oh,
say
wait,
four,
I guess- I'm sorry. I guess,
four regular meetings, or do we want to say 4 consecutive? I mean, if they came every other month,
Well, how
But
helpful is
it's
that?
without notice though, Mary. If they're like, if somebody is ill and they're notifying the board each month that they
it
can't,
doesn't count. Right,
then
right.
they're exempt from
Yeah.
this. But if they're just not providing contact and not reporting to the board at all, that's
Right.
when it comes into play.
so take out the word may after member. And it should be 11 meetings now, right? If we're
All
gonna-
right, 11.
Okay. So delete
And I do think it makes sense to, I know we've brought this up with Marty in the past, and his thinking about this may have changed, so.
Yeah. And also too, is now that you can attend meetings virtually, there's fewer reasons you shouldn't be able to make a meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, so then moving down. So last time I wasn't quite sure if we had agreed upon this or not, so I kept it in green. Adding the statement, each board member shall be a member of at least 2 committees.
I know we had discussed it. I'm not sure if we reached consensus on whether to do it or not. What do you think, Mary?
I'm trying to find it on my notes from the last meeting.
Was it 3 committees last, before?
It's actually, I don't think it was in, I think we all assumed it was in here, but
And
it
it
was.
wasn't. It
Yep.
Okay.
it wasn't. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think that's too much to ask. I think certainly to commit to 2 committees is not unreasonable.
And the executive committee counts as one.
Oh, good.
Oh, does it?
All right, so does anybody want to change the language on that?
Works for me.
I think it's fine too. It's very clear.
that should work with the math of how many board members we have.
Yeah.
Right, 6 committees, right, 12 board members, right.
All right, so the trickiest one of all, the development committee. Most people in their bylaws do not even list the committees. So there were not descriptions of committees, and the only reference to a development committee I could find was Westport, which is an association library. Our definition of a development committee is typically referred to as a planning committee, and they're mostly associations.
I think A is certainly accurate in the Westport description. Coordinate and conduct all development and fundraising activities.
Yeah.
I don't know about the interaction with the community.
Yeah, C is very general as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, forgive me, I had to step away for a second. So, are we talking about this language from Westport?
Yes.
I was saying that I thought really A is the only one that applies to what our committee really does.
Yeah, and I think the part C is just perform such other actions that are consistent with the functions of a development committee and these bylaws, just sort of, if we decide that the development committee should be doing something else, you're sort of covered by that at that time, so.
Yeah. I actually don't mind the engage and interact with the community because most of the fundraising we do is in that capacity.
Mhm.
And I've talked with some board members about even when we start fundraising again, we're going to have to attempt some things that are probably low income items just to get people engaged again.
Some more outreach. stuff.
Yeah, because I don't think we can jump right back into fundraising. So B certainly allows for that. But I'd say at this point, the current definition we have is not relevant to what we do.
No.
No.
I mean, I think this doesn't, it definitely does not read like an association, library development committee, description. So-
I think it was back in the, and I use this term, the olden days when we were trying to raise money, to finish the library, then all of this came into play, but now it doesn't.
So do you think we shouldn't have a development committee or?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I think what we had before as the definition of it doesn't apply to us anymore. And I think this development committee on the Westport one seemed to make more sense.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think our whole thing before, when I looked at it, I go, whoa, that was back in what I call the olden days, when that's what we did.
When I looked at it, I thought no one would want to be on the development committee if they knew that was. they were
Well,
supposed to-
that's true, but some of us were there then.
All right,
Yeah,
so
and-
I'm going to strike out, or I have strucken out the language we currently have for the development committee. So the language I have below, do we want to modify that?
I think we have to start with the development committee shall, because that'll match all the others.
Right.
Okay, development committee shall.
Take out the word B.
Shall coordinate, so just coordinate and conduct all development and fundraising activities?
Mhm. And do you want to, I think you should keep in the engage and interact with community and perform such other actions. I don't know why you need a B and C. I'm not a big fan of those kinds of things, but
Yeah, I don't think we've done that.
anywhere else, right?
Well, I'd hate to take it out just because we haven't done it.
No, we're talking about the letters.
Oh, the letters. No, I just assumed take those out. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about the A's and the B's and the C's.
Oh,
Sorry.
yep, they're gone. Okay,
Yeah, but I think the language should all stay in,
okay. Then
just
yes.
those little parenthetical whatevers.
Okay, so now it reads, the development committee shall coordinate and conduct all development and fundraising activities. Then I should take out two. Engage and interact with the community and perform such other actions that are consistent with the functions of a development committee and these bylaws.
I like that.
I think you need a capital B though, right, for bylaws?
Yeah, they,
Thanks, Judy.
you don't hyphenate our bylaws. Okay. All right, then that is it.
Okay,
Unless anybody has any comments, I'll entertain a motion to present the bylaw, the proposed amendments to the board.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
I'm sorry, I forgot to ask if there was any discussion. No discussion, okay.
No discussion.
Aye.
So what is it, to present the bylaws?
Present the proposed amendments to the bylaws to the board.
Now, do you think, Robin, it should be presented to them in this, I like this format, where you've got this the
The old stuff, the
old
stuff
stuff,
coming in.
yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely. I think, Megan, you don't have to do your colors anymore.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I think it's always important to show people what changes you're making so that they know what they're doing.
Right.
Okay, so now I'll just clean up the numbers.
So when was the last time before this that we had amended this?
2017, is that it?
Was it 2017? Okay.
2019? Yeah, April of 17.
Wow.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we're having fun. Right. It's definitely time, yeah. I think that's a great start, guys, within 30 days. Thank you all very much.
A reminder, we do have to meet at least 2 more times.
Oh,
We-
no, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay,
But I think we've made progress and I'm pleased to have something to bring back to the board so quickly.
So do we want to schedule the meeting for the personnel policy? Or do you want to wait till after the board meeting to do that?
If everybody has their calendar, why not do it when we're
Yeah.
all together?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of let's do it now, because otherwise,
It gets lost. Yeah.
well, and then everybody's like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do
Right,
that.
well, your calendar starts to fill up and then.
Yeah, yeah. And rightfully so.
All right, so what days look best for everyone?
Okay, so today was the
8th.
8th. Do we need prep time before that, or are we just gonna kind of jump in and?
No, I think everyone should prep. I have a lot of prep materials for everyone to review, and I will leave the option open if people want hard copies, because you're going to have to review the policy, the personnel policy against the union contract. So we're looking at about 50 pages of content.
So either the 22nd or the 29th, does that work for people?
Of this month or
Yeah, is that too soon?
The 29th be the
the 29th is probably better for me. The 22nd, I already have a meeting.
Okay, so the 29th, good for everybody, or do you feel it's too soon?
No, I think it's time. It's 3 weeks. We need to move.
Yeah, I think we need to get it done. 29th is a
It's a-
Thursday.
Yeah,
Is 6:30 good for everyone?
yep.
I can make it work. If I can, I'll let you know, but I should be able to make it work.
Okay. So
So
then,
if you think we should have you know, that it'd be easier for us to compare what we have to look at. It'd be better if we could get hard copies.
Yeah, so I will have, but today is Thursday, so I can have Barbara start putting them together next week. So the end of next week, I can have them available. And I can email everyone when they're ready, but I'll also send it out virtually. So if you can't get in right away to pick up the binder, you do have something to look at.
Okay.
So send out. And Robin, when you get it, it would be great if you could look for discrepancies between sections.
Okay. Between the two documents, you mean?
That and even just within itself, trying to edit the document that had, there were discrepancies in terms throughout that I tried to look for. Definitions didn't match terms being used. So myself and two other employees combed through it, but I feel like we may not have caught everything. And I know you're very good at that.
Right.
Binder. Okay. All right. So I have our next meeting as Thursday, April 29th at 6:30.
And so that one and the following one are going to be we'll be dealing with the personnel.
Yes.
Okay. So do we want to set the next meeting after that?
You want to do it 2 weeks after?
So that would make it the 13th of May.
Yeah.
That works for me.
It's good for me.
I wouldn't be able to be there.
Well, then what, would the 12th be okay?
Let's see. Yeah,
I can't do the 12th.
All right.
the 11th? The Tuesday night?
That's okay for me.
Hold on. Oops. I can't make the 11th.
Okay.
What if you go back to the 6th? Is that too soon?
If I have to research that, that would be.
Okay. Okay, yeah, no, I understand.
Do you want to do the 20th? Did we already say that? I'm sorry.
No, we didn't say the
No.
20th yet.
Are we, well, yeah, I mean, how far in advance do you want to send it out to the board? Our meeting is on the 24th, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, for the personnel policy, we would present it and they'd have to review it over the course of a month. So things like the bylaws, anything that's a policy, the state highly recommends giving a board 1 month or between meetings to review. So if we presented it on the 24th, the board would still get a month to review it. So they wouldn't need to get it until the 24th.
Okay, so you don't hand it out prior to the first meeting?
I try to, but for something like this where they get a month to review it anyway, I could give it out at the meeting.
Did we just say it was the 29th and then when was the next one?
So we're trying to figure out the 20th. Does that work for you, Terry?
The 20th. Well, Thursday, the 20th.
Correct.
May 20th.
Okay. Yes, for right
good.
now, and I will definitely try to be there.
Okay.
When is Memorial Day? The end of that month?
It's
The 31st, the 31st.
That Thursday should be fine then.
Okay. And I won't file that, so we can always change it in between, before or on the 29th.
Okay.
Now, is the library board meeting's on the 24th, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so anything else for this evening?
No, nice job, Megan.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Megan.
Megan.
Well, thanks, Robin, for calling me and getting me moving on this.
Well, you did all the work, so. All right, so anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I will.
Okay, any second?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Yeah.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everybody.
A nice
Right,
evening, everybody.
7:13 I have.
Yes.